Hello, I'm Mabel Jong, and you're watching Health Day Now. Lots of people know eating right and exercising does a body good, but what about sleeping right? We spend about one third of our lives asleep, yet many people report that they're waking up exhausted, and sleep is just not what it used to be. According to a survey conducted by the Harris Poll in partnership with Health Day, nearly 1 in 3 Americans are more tired now than they were before the COVID-19 pandemic began. The survey also revealed that folks are trying all sorts of ways to help them sleep. Some are turning to medicines, including 16% of respondents who say they are currently taking an over the counter sleeping pill on a regular basis, and 15% who say they're currently taking prescription sleep medication on a regular basis. More than half said they have tried using behavioral or lifestyle modifications to help them sleep during the pandemic, such as reducing stress, managing anxiety, eliminating or reducing caffeine, meditating, changing their sleep environment, avoiding screen time in or before bed, and eliminating or reducing alcohol. Chronically bad sleep is more than a nuisance. It can lead to serious health problems. With me now is Dr. Raj Dasgupta, Associate Professor of Clinical Medicine at the Keck School of Medicine at the University of Southern California. He's a spokesman for the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Dr. Raj, welcome.
Hi, Mabel. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so glad that we're talking about this subject because it's on everyone's mind. How much sleep should people be getting? Is there a magic sleep number?
Oh, I love that question. Everyone wants the magic number, but life is all about a range. So when I think about the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, what is our range based upon age? You know what I mean? Because my answers will always change if you're an infant, a newborn, a toddler, adolescent. But you know what? For me and you, Mabel, let's kind of give the range of around 7 to 9 hours per night, with the sweet spot being around 8. But I got to tell you, it's not easy to get that number. Sleep always sounds like it's the easiest thing to get, but it's difficult to get good sleep. And where does that lead into? To get that good sleep, it's all about what I call the 2 Qs. The quantity of sleep, which you're asking me how much do you need, but then the quality of sleep. And what does that mean? Can you get to those deeper stages? Can you get to REM sleep? Those very special things happen in those deeper sleep stages and REM sleep stages that help every single part of our body.
Okay. So what's going on with the body's immune system if you're not sleeping well?
So yes, when we talk about our immune system, whether we're talking it at the cell level, that when you have poor sleep quality and quantity, you're going to have a lot of inflammation. There's a lot of proteins called cytokines that are going to be out there causing more inflammation, making you more predisposed to having infections.
What about memory loss, depression risk? And is there a link between sleep and lifespan?
As we get older, we still need the same amount of sleep, but getting that good quality sleep is tough. As we get older, it's harder to fall asleep. It's harder to stay asleep. And what causes this? Well, maybe it could be some of the other issues we have. When we get older, we may get some heart failure. We may get some lung disease. Next thing you know, you look at the medication list, like, where did all these medications come from? And medications play a big role as we talk about getting good sleep. And you mentioned depression, anxiety. I'm not surprised. If you were to ask me, what is probably one of the most common sleep disorders I see all the time? Insomnia. And I'm not just talking about acute insomnia that we all get from time to time, chronic insomnia. And when it's not hard to diagnose insomnia, but it's really hard to manage. It's hard to live with. And this kind of goes hand in hand that many individuals who unfortunately have insomnia, depression goes with that.
Okay, now before we unpack the medication issue, let's talk sleep apnea. It seems like there are a growing number of people who literally stop breathing while they're sleeping. Why does this happen? And how do people start to develop that?
So it is unfortunate that 15 to 20 million people in the United States suffer from obstructive sleep apnea. And you know what, Mabel, I think that number is a little bit low. I think a little better job in diagnosing it. And we think about obstructive sleep apnea. I'm going to pretend you're my patient today. And they always ask, what does it mean? What is apnea? Apnea means no flow. Full of what? air, no oxygen in, no carbon dioxide out. And there's always a stereotype that, you know what, if you have obstructive sleep apnea, well, you need to be obese, you need to be overweight. And I'm like, no, that is not right. Because when we talk about the obstruction isn't here in the stomach and the gut and the belly. It's here. It's the back of your mouth.
Okay, so what are the signs that you are experiencing this condition and that you should be seen by a doctor?
It usually starts off with the S word, snoring. Other things that come to mind is, hey, if you're not feeling, that you have all the energy during the day, you're feeling fatigued. So even if you slept 7 to 8 hours per night, you still could not feel refreshed during the day. So daytime sleepiness, daytime fatigue, sometimes night sweats, sometimes too many trips to the bathroom at night can cause it. Definitely when you have that choking and gasping feeling at nighttime. So all these things are definitely going to factor in when you want to make a decision about, do I have obstructive sleep apnea, and get tested for it.
Okay, and is there a surefire way to treat it?
There's some very interesting devices that they implant in people. Maybe it's positional therapy. The most common position to get sleep apnea is on your back. Or maybe, what I sprinkle along everyone, diet, weight loss, and exercise. We can all use it, including myself.
Well, what should the role of medication be then in encouraging good sleep?
Oh, wonderful question. So I think that you have to take it as an individual, meaning that sleep is very individualized, insomnia is very individualized. And, when I talk about me, I really feel in my heart that most individuals don't want to be on chronic medications. And that's what I always encourage. And if you ask me, how do we treat chronic insomnia? 3 letters, CBT. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognition is the way you think. Behaviors are your behaviors, such as set bedtime, set wake time. The bed is only meant for sleeping. So we could go over all the behavioral therapies, but those CBT therapies apply acutely, they apply chronically. And I just want to say a very important thing for everyone is that sleep hygiene in itself is not a treatment for insomnia. Sleep hygiene combined with CBT is how we treat insomnia. But you're right, some people require medication. I would say many people will try something something like an herbal remedy. The biggest one is always going to be melatonin. And then, of course, there are other things. People talk to me about magnesium and valerian root and tryptophan. So there's so many things that people want to try. And I always say, let me know, because I always wonder if there are drug-drug interactions, is there safety things, antihistamines, such as a diphenhydramine, it has its own consequences. And I don't want to be a scary person because that's not me, but studies have shown if you take antihistamines such as a diphenhydramine long term, it can be associated with some dementia like you're asking about. So I think that, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is my baseline. We take each case individually. We try to use the medications wisely, looking at side effect profile. And my pet peeve, because I want to make sure I say this 1,000 times, when you're on any type of, medication to help you sleep, don't drink alcohol. So I can't say that enough. Only bad things are going to happen when you combine this. And alcohol in general is not great for falling asleep.
I want to shift gears to what's happening with kids. There are earlier start times happening, some later start times. How do these start times affect sleep and daytime drowsiness? And should we encourage a move to later start times for everyone?
Well, poor sleep is associated with poor decision making. It's associated with problems with your memory, all the things you want when you are going to school, being more patient, having an open mind, absorbing the information. So it makes a huge difference, even if it's only half an hour or 1 hour. So I strongly believe, and the American Academy of Sleep Medicine strongly believes that, giving children more time to sleep, delaying school times are definitely going to benefit them. And, we're all about evidence-based medicine, and we're collecting data as we speak.
All right, Dr. Raj, we've covered a lot. I thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know what? We should do this again. I had a blast.
All right, Dr. Raj, we'll be calling again. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're very welcome.
I want to bring in my Health Day colleague, Dr. Robin Miller, a practicing physician of integrative medicine with Triune Integrative Medicine. Robin, so great to see you.
Great to see you. Great to be here.
Well, since so many people have trouble sleeping, there are plenty of techniques circulating on the web about what helps. For instance, the 25-minute rule. Have you heard of this?
I have. So if you're having trouble falling asleep and you're just lying there, it's 25 minutes or 20 minutes. Or if you wake up in the middle of the night, you look at the clock and it's ticking away and you go, it's already been 20 minutes. Then what's best for many people is you get up and do something calming. You can meditate. You can read under a low yellow light, not a blue light. You can find different ways to relax. The key is to get yourself sleepy. And there's so many amazing programs out there now. There's meditation programs. There's storytelling programs. I mean, there's so many things that will help lull you back to sleep. It's amazing.
Okay, so people shouldn't be stressed out about waking up in the middle of the night and then having to lull themselves back to sleep.
No, and in fact, I sent you an article a while back about split sleep. And until electricity came along, that's what people did. They got up in the middle of the night and they did things. They had quiet conversations. They got a little things done around the house. They read, they wrote, they were creative, and then they went back to sleep. And it's not dangerous. It helps me because sometimes I'm up at 3 a.m. and oh my goodness. And then I realized, no, this is okay.
Right, right. That seems to be the key, to feel okay about that, not stress out. Now, what about devices in the bedroom? This seems inevitable for a lot of people who are also working where they sleep.
Yeah, well, the key is not to work in your bed. Keep bed for sleep and sex, and that is all. Even if you have to work in your bedroom, do not use your bed for work. That's number one. Number two, we tell people don't use your devices before you go to sleep, but they're going to do it. So maybe what you should do is do it standing. That way you'll get tired and you'll finally lie down. So that's what you're going to do. Do it standing, make a deal with yourself. And then when you lie down, put it away. And don't put your phone next to your head. I keep mine in the bathroom.
Now, on the positive side, having some devices in the bedroom should be okay if they encourage sleep.
Absolutely. I mean, make the devices work for you. So for instance, Fitbits, an Aura Ring, I have one. Even a bed, the Sleep Number bed, will tell you how you're sleeping, and it can be very helpful. For me, it's been helpful because it tells me what stages of sleep I've been in all night and what I could do to improve those stages. For instance, I know when I go to bed right after eating, my sleep is not going to be great. And my ring actually tells me that. Like, oh, I think you went to bed too close to mealtime last night. Or maybe drinking alcohol before you went to bed definitely interferes with sleep. And when you game yourself with a device, it's incredibly helpful.
Okay. That's really good information. What are your routines for getting a good night's sleep?
Well, my routine is I usually take a shower or a bath before I go to bed. It's very relaxing. I always meditate before I go to sleep. And then for me, it's been a lot easier. The other thing that I do is take hormones. Because once you're in menopause, it can be difficult. Women wake up with hot flashes all the time. It can be very unsettling. For me, progesterone has been a godsend.
All right. And is there anything that you'd like to add that I've missed?
Well, yeah, a couple of things. First of all, alcohol is one of those things that people often use to go to sleep. It may get you to sleep really fast, but it totally interferes with your sleep cycle. In fact, it disrupts REM sleep, the dream sleep. And what will happen is once it wears off halfway through the night, you get a rebound REM. And so a lot of people will get nightmares and very vivid dreams if they've been drinking. So if you're going to drink, keep it at 2 drinks and do it at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. Exercise is really important, but maybe what you need to do is not exercise 4 hours before you go to sleep. So eating healthy is always important for just general health in general, overall. But eating healthy, exercising, really important. Caffeine is something that you should avoid after 2 p.m. I'm a big coffee drinker. But if I drink after 2, I have a really hard time going to sleep. And then one other thing that's incredibly helpful, that's helped me big time, is I used to have troubles going to sleep and staying asleep, other than the hormone part. But hypnosis is incredibly valuable in getting you to sleep. So about 15 years ago, I had a hypnotherapist hypnotize me to sleep. And she made a tape and I listened to it over and over again. And then finally, I didn't need to listen to the tape anymore. So basically, she took me downstairs to a beach and I would be asleep before I got there. Even 15 years later, I do this and I keep thinking it's not going to work, not going to work. But it works every time. I usually don't get to the 10th step. So that's a really valuable thing, which you can get on an app as well.
Robin, that's great stuff. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. There's so many fascinating things about sleep and so many things to help people. We could talk for hours.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Robin, thank you. And I want to thank spokesman of the American Academy for Sleep Medicine, Dr. Raj Dasgupta, assistant professor of clinical medicine at the Keck School of Medicine at USC. And of course, again, my thanks to my HealthDay colleague, Dr. Robin Miller of Triune Integrative Medicine. I'm Mabel Zhang. You've been watching HealthDay Now.